Alrighty, we are going to talk about another cool kid from the Bible. And the kid we're going to talk about happens to be an older sister. That's why I brought my friend Lucy with me today. Lucy, are you an older sister?
Yes.
Lucy's an older sister too. But before we get into our story and talk about this really cool kid from the Bible, we're going to talk a bit about bravery. Lucy, is there anything that you're afraid of?
Death.
Death? That is something, that most people are afraid of. Okay, so Lucy, I'm going to pour some of that fear into my bottle here. Lucy, anything else that you're afraid of? Do you like to climb up really high and look over the edge of something super?
No.
Lucy is afraid of heights. I am afraid of the unknown. I don't like going into situations where I don't know what's going to happen or something really new. That kind of freaks me out. That's something I'm afraid of. Do you know that our Bible tells us that we're not supposed to have a spirit of fear? That we are supposed to trust in God and that God hasn't given us a spirit of fear? Lucy, what do you think that means? How, when we're in these scary situations, maybe you're up super high, or maybe I'm going into something new that I've never done before, like maybe a lot of you are starting a new school this week. How are you guys going to get over your fears? Lucy, let me say, what happens if I were to take this water and dump it over you?
No.
Would the water get to you?
Yes.
Does that kind of make you nervous because you're wearing a cute white shirt?
Yes.
It makes you a little fearful, right? If I were going to dump this over you.
Don't dump it.
Don't dump it, she says. Now, Lucy, what happens if we are in those scary situations and we choose to pray to God to help us through those situations? What do you think's going to happen?
Poof.
Poof? No poof. God is going to help us and put a barrier between us and our fear. Now, what do you think's going to happen if I flip this plate over? Do you still think the water might pour out? Do you think it'll pour out in the plate? You guys, watch this at home. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
What the?
Ready? White. What happens if I remove my hand down here? Look at that, guys. When we trust in God and we pray to Him to help us through our fear, He puts a barrier of protection. Now, Lucy, with that layer of protection, you're not as afraid when I hold this over your head, are you? It's not so scary now because God protected us. When we pray and we ask God, He gives us our bravery that we need. So we're protected from our fears. Now, let's go and read about a really cool kid in the Bible who also was very brave. Okay, guys, it's time to talk about our really cool kid from the Bible. You see, this kid we're talking about, her name was Miriam, and she was the big sister to Moses. Do you guys remember Moses? From him rescuing his people from slavery and bringing them out of Egypt? Well, Moses wasn't always that big. Actually, our story begins when Moses was just a little baby and God rescued him. You see, the Pharaoh of the land wanted all the baby Israelites to be put to death. And that scared Moses' mom. So she made a basket and took him down to the river and prayed and sent Moses in a basket down the river. And God protected him. Let's see what happened here. It says, after a while, the king's daughter came down to the river. She noticed the basket and sent her servant woman to fetch it. When Pharaoh's daughter opened the basket, she saw a crying child inside. She picked Moses up and held him gently in her arms. This must be the one of the Hebrew babies, she said softly. Moses' sister Miriam, remember Miriam, who I talked about with her bravery, was secretly watching from nearby. She bravely stepped forward and offered to fetch someone to nurse the baby. The princess nodded. Miriam darted off to find her own mother. So it was that Miriam's mother looked after her own son until he was old enough for the princess to take him to the palace. God protected Moses, and because of Miriam's bravery, her stepping out and approaching the princess, Moses' own mother got to raise him till he was ready to go back to the palace. And God had a big plan for Moses' life. He rescued his people from slavery. It says in our Bible that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and sound mind, 2 Timothy. We've got to remember that if we are afraid, to pray and trust in God, just like Miriam did. We hope you have a great week. Bye.